Omwenga.
Good morning, everybody. I want to adopt the protocols already observed, already set. And as we this morning gather here, as the chair of the Town and County Planners Association of Kenya, cities, towns is our core business. As professionals, towns, cities, that is our home. And therefore, may I take this opportunity then, besides being welcomed to the Two Rivers, welcome you to our city of Nairobi as far as towns and cities are concerned. First and foremost, may I recognize and thank our partners. First, the Nation Media Group, the largest media house in this part of the world, for providing this platform so that the message of discussion about smart cities, sustainable development can be shared not only within our borders, not only within the East and Central African region, but globally. I also want to thank the Two Rivers for providing this facility for us to be able to share, and the other partners. Now, as town planners, and because of the time that we have, I want to, as you see, I've just walked up here with the publication that is today in the business. Yes, it is in the East Africa Today. Okay, I think a lot of what I wanted to say is already there. So I want to invite you to look at that and look at the issues that I want to address. And therefore, I would move on to look at the key issues that bring us here. As town planners, if there is one item that I want us to pick from this great event, is this: that indeed failing to plan is planning to fail. So it's important that in everything that we do, we must be ready to plan. And if we fail to plan, then we are really headed for disaster. I don't know whether that describes the kind of challenge and situation that we face as a country, starting right from the city of Nairobi and all other towns, municipalities, and towns and urban areas in the Republic, and not only in Kenya, but throughout the African continent. As we gather here today on this very special occasion where we're discussing about smart cities of the future, we also stand here as part of that in marking and celebrating the World Cities Day that is marked on 31st of October. For those of you who might not be in the know, the whole month of October under the United Nations is marked as the Urban October, where the attention of the whole world is focused on matters towns, matters urban areas, and so on, to make sure that our urban places are the best places to live, to work, and indeed derive our economic livelihood. And therefore, as we sit here, we are marking the Smart Cities and also the World Cities Day that will be marking tomorrow. The issues that face our towns today are well known to us, and they cut across many sectors. They are all known to us. When you look at everything in totality, one thing is sure, that indeed the way forward is about serious reforms and innovation in the way in which we have planned and developed our cities and our towns in the past. We need to now develop a new paradigm shift towards smart and resilient development. I want to break it down to read the very basics, because a lot of the time as professionals, we tend to use terms that really put off the rest of the general public. And I'm happy that the two speakers that have gone before me speak as town planners. They speak as people, as a team that is already converted. A digital city, ladies and gentlemen, must first and foremost be people-focused. In the past, we have intended to prepare our plans and development programs without serious input and participation of the people. So the starting point moving forward is to make sure that as we talk about digital cities and smart cities, we begin by making sure that our people are indeed smart. They are indeed digital informed. So that as we move forward, we move with the citizens. A city that is divorced from its people is no city. Development that does not move along with its citizens is no development. So we need to have that in mind, that indeed, however sophisticated technologies we may want to develop, we must make sure that they are people-centered and focused. As professional town planners, and here I want to include the entire scope of professionals in the landed and the built environment, and I see present here serious and very senior architects, engineers. We must move away from just looking at land use development and building development. We must make sure that indeed the city is where people derive their livelihood. And therefore we must make sure that the cities that we develop are smart, provide opportunities to empower our people economically. Many a times we have got various sectoral departments of government and of state where everybody is doing their bit in silos. I want to invite you that indeed we must, as smart cities, moving forward, make sure that there is purposeful integration of all the sectors of development. Whether we're talking about roads, whether you're talking about the entire transport system. If it's a road, it must be integrated into the railway system, it must be integrated into the air system, it must be integrated into the water system. It must be integrated into people walking, people cycling, so that it's integrated. And then the transport system must be integrated to everything else, as my earlier speaker did indicate, where the infrastructure, where the housing development, industrial development, commercial development is put together. And this is the place where then as town planners, we really provide the jelly that integrates all these elements in place. It's important to emphasize that point because you may have seen instances where some works are done, maybe it's a road works, only to find that we forgot that that road must also be integrated on the developments along it. The next item that is indeed very key, that in the world in which we live today, the issue of climate change is a reality. The issues of the carbon footprints are realities. The issues of the limitation on the natural and ecological resources that have got limitations must be taken into account. The use of our ecological resources is not unlimited. They are indeed limited. And the case of Nairobi and the neighboring counties sets a very good example. We must make sure that we protect our rich agricultural areas where we get our food, because what a city if your citizens are hungry. We must integrate our natural resources, for example, in terms of water, that we don't destroy our water sources. We must not be importing water to the city of Nairobi all the way from Murang'a. We must avoid a situation where these basic elements are protected and enhanced. Indeed, we look forward to a time when we can fish, if not swim, in Nairobi River. The next item, which is key, is about, if we are talking about people, then it's important that the health and life of our people is at the center of everything else. A city with a sickly population is certainly not a livable and sustainable city. So issues, the very basic issues of people's health, the issues of pollution, air pollution, for example, become very important elements that must be incorporated in the development and planning of our cities moving forward. And as I come to a close, because I'm simply highlighting just a few of the key items, everything that we do is about governance. Indeed, in any society, in any corporate entity, governance is at the center of it. We must make sure that the way in which our cities are run, cities are now under the county governments, under our constitution, but everything else is also related to the national government level. The issues of having governance that is accountable, that is smart, is indeed a very important item, where then the discipline about how we use our human resources or capital, the finances, become a very important item. And in all these, where then the public participation becomes a key element in all these items. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, now that I teach at the University of Nairobi, reforms in the education and training sector is a must. When you look at our education system and our training as professionals, I think we have failed to really address the very basic issues, local issues to be able to solve our problems locally. So we need to reform our education system in the training and practice of our professionals so that we're looking at relevant and practical knowledge and skills that will be able to address the very basic needs of our people at the local level. For a long time, I think we've continued to look outside so as to solve our local problems. That needs to change. The solution to our problems are actually within our capabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much and wish you the very best.